Here are the 4 things I wish every new rider understood when they got into motorcycling. Budget. Spend the first of your motorcycle budget on good riding gear, not just on a good motorcycle. You know, buying your first motorcycle is exciting, but a motorcycle should not be the first thing you buy. Everyone has got a budget when it comes to getting their first motorcycle, and if you spend all of your money on the motorcycle, there won't be much left for the proper gear. So this is not a comprehensive video on the subject of riding gear, but at a minimum, I think a rider should budget for the following protective gear. First of all, and most importantly, is a helmet. And that helmet's got to be comfortable and it's got to fit well. A full-face helmet's going to provide you the best protection, and it's what I wear every time I'm riding on the street. For the cost on the low end, expect to spend $200 to $300 for a good, budget full-face helmet. For that $200 to $300 price range, you're going to find a basic helmet that offers good protection. Some of the manufacturers that make models in that price range are HJC, Scorpion, Bell, and Shark. And in particular, I like the HJC and the Bell helmets. Those are my 2 favorites of those helmets in that price range. But if you want to spend money and it fits you right, a showy helmet, in my opinion, is tough to beat. But each of these manufacturers are going to have more or less expensive helmets. But from those budget helmet manufacturers I mentioned, each of them are going to have some that are, up there, cost as much as a showy helmet. And they're going to have more base models that are going to fall into this price range. When you're shopping for budget helmets, in my opinion, certifications become even more important, because those budget-friendly helmets, you can find some that are still in that price range at $300 that may have Bluetooth or something like that built into it. But if it doesn't have the certifications, they're spending money on the Bluetooth and they're not properly testing the helmet to make sure that it's, safe as it can be out on the road. So for those budget helmets, you're looking for just a plain full face helmet. You can find them for that $200 to $300, and you can find some that are ECE certified. And that's what you want to look for, is something that has that ECE certification. DOT, in my opinion, doesn't really make any difference at all, because that's up to the manufacturer to say that, yeah, we met DOT standards. If you get something with the ECE certification, you know that the helmet has been tested and that it passed those tests in order to get that certification. So in addition to a helmet, you're at a minimum going to want a riding jacket. You're going to want gloves, and you're going to want over-the-ankle shoes or boots that are going to work well with the foot controls of the motorcycle. I've seen some riders come out with work boots that have a steel toe in it, or the toe of the boot is really thick, and that can make it hard to get your foot under the shifter and make the foot controls difficult to control. So you want to make sure that whatever shoes that you're wearing, you want something over the ankle to protect your ankles, but you want something that's going to make it easy to manipulate the foot controls, particularly the shifter on your left foot. If you got some budget left over for riding gear, consider some riding pants or even an airbag vest. I think the airbag vests are a real lifesaver. Next to a helmet, that's probably the one piece of equipment that could potentially save your life. The airbag vests are a fairly new technology. I've never ridden with one personally, but they're tried and true out on the MotoGP track, and they're becoming more readily accessible for street use. So if that's something that interests you, do some research on that. I really think those provide a lot more protection than just a riding jacket does, because there's so much impact that the human body can take, but that airbag vest kind of acts like an airbag in your car, and it's going to provide, that blunt force impact protection that you wouldn't get otherwise. But keep in mind, especially when we're talking about motorcycle helmets, that the most important thing is the fit. If the helmet doesn't fit you right, you're not going to want to wear it, and it's going to be uncomfortable for long rides. So it's really important, particularly for motorcycle helmets, to go to a store that's got some in stock, try them on, wear it in the store for a while, and make sure that it fits you right. Because if it doesn't fit you right, it's not going to do you any good at all on the shelf of your garage. But I've got a video on this subject of finding the right fit for a helmet for you. I won't go into details here, but if you go to MCrider.com/MCrider Helmet Vid, you can find more information on finding the right helmet to fit you for your particular head shape. Training is essential, and it does not stop after the new rider class. You know, when I used to teach a new rider class, I'd talk to graduating students about a follow-up training. And at that time, I was teaching the new rider class, but I could also teach the BRC2 and the total control classes that were excellent follow-up classes to what the riders had just passed. You know, most riders were happy to get that certification, that they could go get their license, and they were enthusiastic at that time about coming back for follow-up training. But I mean, rarely or barely did anyone ever sign up to come back and take a more advanced class. The more advanced classes were less expensive, they took less time, and they were a whole lot of fun for the riders who did show up for them, but very rarely did new riders ever darken the door to come back and take those new classes. So the BRC or the new rider class is exactly that. It's a beginner class, and that's exactly what it is. That's all you're doing is learning beginning riding skills. You know, think about it. In a new rider class, you took the class on a parking lot with no threat of traffic. It speeds up to 20 miles per hour on a 250cc or smaller motorcycle. You'll find a road with streets of 20 miles per hour, and I'll show you a road that a graduate of a BRC class has experience in dealing with. Training should not stop after the new rider class. In fact, the new rider class barely scratches the surface of what can be learned to make you a better and safer rider on the street. You know, that's one of the reasons why I started MCrider. If riders wouldn't come to me for training, then I'd go to them, and that's what I'm doing with you right now. But MCrider is not a substitute for in-person training, but it is a huge benefit. Membership gives you access to the forums where we talk about this stuff 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it gives you access to the field guide with practice exercises that you can train on your own on any open parking lot. And these are valuable resources for riders at any skill level, and the cost is a fraction of what it would cost to take a class in person. You know, in my opinion, if you're serious about riding a motorcycle well, membership to MCrider is a no-brainer. And I would say that just as enthusiastically if someone else had come up with the idea and I wasn't the one running MCrider. But I also want to recommend to take a follow-up class or a training class in person. The best time to do that if you're a new rider is 6 months to a year after getting your license. You'll be amazed at the bad habits that you developed in just that short a period of time, and the things that you kind of glossed over in your first class will start to make a whole lot more sense after you've been riding on the road for a little bit. And that second training course is going to help you a ton. If you can't find an advanced class, like a BRC2 is a mid-level class or a total control class, go back and take the BRC class again. You know, I've sat through it multiple times as a student, and I've probably learned something every time that I've taken it. Your riding skills are either progressing or regressing. Let's say this guy likes apple pie, and I mean, who doesn't like apple pie? He finds the perfect recipe and decides he's going to make one apple pie every week for the rest of his life. Does he go out and purchase all the apples he's ever going to need to make that apple pie every week for the rest of his life? Well, no, because the apples are perishable. They go bad, they get soft, they rot, they deteriorate, and old rotted apples make bad pie. Your riding skills on a motorcycle do the same thing without practice. They get old and soft. If you've not practiced emergency braking since you took the new rider class, say 7 years ago, it's like trying to make that apple pie with 7-year-old apples. But in this instance, it's even worse because you can take a bite of an apple pie with 7-year-old apples in it and spit it out, but you're stuck with your 7-year-old skills when that car pulls out in front of you, and instead of spitting it out, you're forced to eat the whole apple pie whether you're ready for it or not. Another important point to understand is riding is not training, riding is riding, and training is training. They're two separate things. You know, I can ride for 5 years and maybe have to emergency brake 1 or 2 times during that entire 5-year period. In just a 30-minute training session, I can practice emergency braking dozens of times, not to mention swerving, brake and escape, cornering, U-turns, all the other skills that you may rarely need but are vitally important when you need them on the street. You can practice those dozens of times in just a matter of minutes on a parking lot, and if you do that regularly, It keeps it fresh for when you do need it on that rare occasion out on the street. Now, I know that a lot of viewers at MCrider spend some time in the military. Did the military teach you your skill and then never train you on it again? Well, no, there was constant follow-up and training to keep your skills sharp, because the military knows something that many riders fail to understand. Skills are perishable. So you have to keep up on your training in order for it to be fresh when you need it out on the road. There are two aspects when it comes to riding, and your road strategy is as important as your road skills. You know, if road skills are the physical aspects of riding, like emergency braking, U-turns, cornering, thing like that, then your road strategy is the mental part of the game, and each is equally important. Road skills and road strategy is like peanut butter and jelly. You know, I like peanut butter, I like jelly, but you put the two together and that's where the magic happens. Road skills and road strategy complement each other. Each one on their own is good, but you combine the two and you've got a well-rounded rider. Yeah, I fully believe you could take a rider with incredible road skills, turn him loose out on the road at double the speed limit, riding blind through intersections, poor following distance, and not using lane position to his advantage, and that rider is more dangerous to themselves than a new rider with basic skills but using a good road strategy. It takes both. It takes skill and strategy, and each one plays off the other. You know, I've taught road skills and road strategy here on MCrider for 9 years now. So I encourage you to subscribe to the channel and check out my 9 years worth of videos that I've provided for you, all free of charge. You can go to MCrider.com/watch and you can find every video that I've ever produced right here on MCrider. Till next week, guys, it's Kevin with MCrider, and I'll see you on the road. There's a whole lot more to MCrider than just the weekly videos. Go to MCrider.com/member. You'll get instant access to the forums and the field guide. You get ad-free MCrider videos and a whole lot more. Go to MCrider.com/member for all the details.